My name is Murray Rubenstein, and I'll be shameless and say a week from today I'm going to be giving a talk at the Institute for Modern History that is along the same lines but very, very different. The title is Creating an Americanized Taiwan, Actors, Agencies, Approaches, and Impacts, 1951 to 2009, Monday at 3 o'clock. I guess I'm coming from, this is a wonderful kind of thing because this is California versus New York, I think.
Okay, no wait, Monday, 3 o'clock. Next week, where is it?
Next at the, across the street at the Institute of Modern History. I'm a historian. I'm also a Upper West Side New York Jew. Relatively hard-nosed, I guess, and all the evils and the good things about being that way. But I think the historian is really part of it. I guess I spent a decade looking at Christianity on Taiwan, and I will have to say I'm the most churched Jew in the world at this point after that. Went to lots of services, try to understand the phenomenon. I personally come from a Jewish conservative background. Initially rejected Reform Judaism because it was too Presbyterian, and now I would add in certain ways I'm a very good Taiwanese Presbyterian politically. But, and my Judaism is basically kind of lightweight Zionism. I'm saying a lot of itself, but I think that's what we tend to do now. I think conversion, I guess I see conversion as a very pragmatic way. I've looked at my Jonathan Edwards, I've looked at Hopkins, I've looked at American ABC FM, and the whole process of conversion. And I see degrees in it, and I think within what you're talking about, I think, is very accurate. The seeds of the nature of conversion are there, but that in following the process, there is the recognition of change, of backsliding, if you want to use that language. I think there's something else, and this is where I play around with conversion and why Christianity is important and useful in Taiwan. That Christianity, in many cases in China and on Taiwan, is sold by American-born missionaries and everybody else since as part and parcel of the Western gift, if you will. That it comes with technology, it comes with political development. It's a whole bill of goods. American-born missionaries, you see this in the China Repository, you see this in the tracts, and it continues to be part of the process. And Taiwan is the last best hope of mission in a lot of ways, because obviously the war against religion and the PRC put an end to that, and Taiwan becomes their place of refuge. And what I saw here was, and I set up in a book from 1991, a continuum which goes from the hard-nosed churches that make you a Southern Baptist whether you want to or not, or an Assemblies of God Pentecostal, in a rigid way, connected umbilically through money to Richmond, Virginia, etc., etc. And then you've got a middle, and to a degree, and then you've got a middle ground, and I think that John Wall Jaffe reflects that. It's a Taiwan, it's a Western church, and yet in form and in function it still is. I'm a churchgoer every Sunday at the church that it was built or created from the Lin family apartments off Shinilu. It is where the children, the twin daughters of Lin Yisheng and his mother-in-law were killed, and that became a martyrs' church in 1984, and I started going to services there primarily through Pastor John Tin, who is one of the major figures of the Tainan the Tainan Seminary. So I have this kind of hands-on stuff. And the third aspect, and this is the middle ground, it is very Taiwanese, it is very selfhood, at the same time as Presbyterian. There's a strong Calvinist element to it. There's another whole kind of Christianity on the island, and it comes out of primarily the Pentecostal movement going to China in the early 1900s. And out of this comes the the True Jesus Church. It comes Watchman Nee and the Brethren, the Plymouth Brethren kind of process seen in Assembly Hall churches, the defunct way. And also you have the new version of it in the Shinua Jaffe, the New Testament Church of Washington. So, and there you've got the Pentecostal flavor, but with something else. I mean, in True Jesus Church, for example, you are taught how to speak in tongues. And at a given moment, everybody prays and speaks in tongues. And by the way, excuse me for saying it, I learned how to fake it. I've done it for a long time, and I would. My trick is I'd say one of the major prayers of the Jewish liturgy again and again, and shake accordingly. So forgive me for that. But it's a learned behavior, but it works for a lot of people. Now, in general, what my sense is, I'll finish it, that the conversion in Taiwan becomes a pragmatic way of becoming Western and identifying with the West. But when you hit Pentecostal and charismatic Christianity, you're also at the same time appropriating or coming close to something else, which is the Dangi behavior, the possession behavior of the shaman, that are necessary but unpleasant. Here you've got the Iguandao sensibility. And the counter-conversion, if I can say, I see as represented by Iguandao. Because Iguandao brings together the Wujiao, the five faiths, and has a conversion to, and somewhere I still have my old card because I became Iguandao. That's what one does when you want to investigate it, you become Iguandao. And it's, what is it? Rujiao, Daojiao, Fojiao, Islam, and Christianity. That's the whole package, all combined. But when you're there, it's really Dangi behavior. So it's all of these wonderful things. And what I found was a lot of heavy-duty former Christians, westernized, etc., move either to Chan Buddhism or to Iguandao. It's a way of return that you're talking about. So I guess I'm giving you a hands-on pragmatic report. I think you're touching a lot of frameworks there and a lot of flavors. One final note, I guess I'm more of a literalist. To me, Trans-Pacific is getting on the plane in Taipei and taking Eva to Newark and going back and forth. Okay? And I think that my vision is that, at least in academia, Seneca, Taida, whatever, that what has been created is that kind of community. That in the early years of Taiwan, Americanized phase, people went to state universities and got their degree there. In the late